journal entry is something that you have to do every every class. It's usually by the end of every class, but if you don't get it done by the end of every class, make sure that you get it done by the end of the day. So our classes are on Monday. Make sure it's done by 11:59 p.m. Monday. And that's if you can't do it, during class. We're going to get started with Module 2, but before we start Module 2, are there any other questions relating to things that we did previously? I'll take that as a no. All right, so this week we're going to be discussing the overview of personal selling. But before we get into that discussion, we're going to go into calendar of upcoming events. So we're in week 5 right now, February 8th. We're going to be doing Module 2 today again. Some things that'll be due if you look in this column for the post work outside of class. This is the homework that's due on by February 21st at 11:59 p.m. So you have 4 assignments. The reason why there's so many assignments is because we don't have class next week. So to kind of balance things out so that we're not trying to jam everything later on in the end of the semester, this is the week that you'll have this many assignments. There shouldn't be any other weeks that have 4 assignments due, maybe 2 or 3 at the most, but not 4. But just make sure that you have your assignments in by the due date. So the reflection assignment, that will be due by the 21st of February. That'll be the reflection assignment for Module 2 as well as the Module 2 quiz. And I think some of you have already completed the quiz for Module 2. And you can see how to get to it. Now these PowerPoint slides will be in the modules the respective modules. So if you don't get everything through this, you'll see the PowerPoint slides in the module, as well as you'll receive the recorded lecture that we do for today's class. The reflection assignment, it should be, in your own words, describe why trust and ethics are essential to sales. This is the rubric that'll be used, so review that. As far as the product and check-in essay, those will also be due on February 21st. Those are located in Module 3 in the assignments area, and I have the little yellow arrows to let you know which one I'm talking about here. This is the ethics assignment. Again, it's due on February 21st by 11:59 p.m. Read through that and answer the questions, 250 words minimum. The check-in reflection, 50 words minimum. It's kind of like the journal entries that I have you do at the end of each class. So if you do the journal entries at the end of each class or at the end of Monday, you'll be fine with that. All right, this week again we're going to be discussing personal selling. What is personal selling, and some of the stereotypes that go with people that are in the selling industry or advertising industry. Personal selling is the process of communicating with a potential buyer or buyers where it's done face to face with the purpose of selling a product or service. The sellers promote a product through their attitude, their appearance, and any type of special knowledge that they have for the product. Their ultimate goal is to inform and encourage a customer or prospective customer to buy or at least try the product that they're trying to sell. Personal selling is different from other methods of selling, since the salesperson does their business with the customer in person or face to face. It's typically most effective with certain types of products or services, but it can also be important for nearly any kind of business, whether you're in the business of electricity, selling apparel, a grocery store. Sales is very important to that business because that's how they generate money. Most successful business owners have been skilled salespeople because they have to sell whatever their business is providing. Personal sales is one part of the company's promotion mix. So you have the 4 P's: price, product, place, promotion. This is one part of the 4 P's. Sales also goes along with advertising and sales promotions. So with advertising, that's a form of paid sales presentations that are usually not face to face. Think about television ads, which we just had the Super Bowl yesterday, and companies pay a lot of money just for 30-second time slots to sell or to advertise their products. If you think about radio commercials, every 10 to 15 minutes they'll play music, but then after like 10 or 15 minutes they'll hit you with commercials to try to get you to purchase a product or to sell you or to advertise a product to you. You think of newspaper and magazine ads. That's how the newspaper and magazines generate a lot of their money, is through allowing companies to advertise or put ads into their publications. And then the good old direct mail inserts or junk mail that we get, that's another way of advertising a product that you're trying to promote. Sales promotion is the use of incentives, such as things like coupons, discounts, rebates, contests, things like that try to get a customer to buy a product or a service. Personal selling offers organizations specific advantages in comparison to other elements of the promotional mix. All right. Personal selling involves specific steps. It sometimes requires a specific type of training or experience, and usually employs highly talented people. Unfortunately, personal selling is sometimes perceived in a negative light. It usually has bad reputation. The reason is usually because there's unethical people that are that go into sales, or those salespeople might have aggressive or hard sale tactics, or they may have misleading sales pitch where they tell you they're going to provide this for you, but actually provide something that you don't even need or want. When you think of a salesperson, what comes to mind? When a lot of people think of salespeople, the stereotype that usually comes to mind is like a used car salesperson, where they might use shady tactics or unethical means to generate a sale. Now, most salespeople aren't really that way. They're usually kind of like a teammate or someone that you can lean on to help you or your company get to where you want it to be. Because of these stereotypes that salespeople have, there have been some things that have been done to address that issue of the stereotypical salesperson. One way is through selling associations like direct selling association, which have adopted some codes of conduct that dictate the standards of the behavior of the salespeople or the sales members that they have to follow. Most organizations with a personal sales force also adopt their own codes of conduct that provide guidelines regarding to the type of sales pitch that can be made, the hours during which a sales call can be made, and just basically how sales should be done. Many companies also prohibit the use of misleading information or any type of pressure tactics that'll try to get a customer to purchase a good or a service. So these are some of the things that have been put into place to kind of minimize the stereotype of a salesperson as being somebody who's like a con artist or someone who's being real pushy, trying to force you to buy something that you don't want. I emailed you the group assignment or the group case. There's 2 questions in the case, 200 or 100 words minimum per answer, and I need you to email me that document before the end of today's class. Right before we leave the class or before we end the class, you have to do a weekly journal entry. This is done every week. These are the instructions on how to get into it. Make sure that you put the correct title. You use the correct title when you create your journal entry. And the journal entry is a minimum of 50 words. So starting with this week's lecture, in addition to the recording, that lecture that I send out to you, you can also get to the PowerPoint slides that I use in the lecture as well by going to the module. And once you go into the module, it'll be the first option that you select. So for this week, module 2, which we're working on, week 5, you see it says PowerPoint slides, overview of personal selling. These are all of the slides that I just presented in this lecture today. This will be out there until the end of the semester, so if you have any questions about what's due and you don't have access to your tracking calendar, you can always come here and look at the second slide, I think, that has a list of the upcoming events. So the knowledge check is due every Sunday before class by 11:59 p.m. Last week's was due Tuesday evening by 11:59 p.m. But I want to give everybody a chance to do the knowledge check as well as any other homework that needs to be done. So this week's knowledge check, since we don't have class next week, this week's knowledge check for module 2, that's going to be due next Sunday, February 14th. To get to it, you go to module 2, click on assignments, and you see right here, it says after downloading the file and answering the questions, upload the completed document to Blackboard for grading. Or you can email it to me. It might be best to email it. It's due 11:59 p.m. on February 14th, 2021. So before you do the knowledge check, we do our Kahoot knowledge check, which are the same questions that's in this knowledge check. And you can go into the module and actually do the knowledge checks through there. So for module 2, I click on module 2 overview of selling. And right up under the PowerPoint slide, I'm going to click on here. This has the lecture notes, the the DOCX document has the lecture notes. Once I go into here, this has the lecture notes as well, but in addition to the lecture notes, it has the knowledge check that's available that you can do before you actually do the one that will be graded. And it's the same exact questions.